recently went on a filming expedition, and I went over to the homestead, took some video, which I think you'll enjoy, but at the same time I'm always looking for the next thing to mess around with and to experiment with, and I found these really cool things here. I drove by a junk store, said it was going out of business in 8 weeks, and I saw that he had quite a few old, what appeared to be old tractor seats made out of cast iron. And it is cast iron and very heavy duty. It says 1847 right there. It's got a big deer with a nice rack and almost cartoonish looking. And then a J and a D. I'm thinking, okay, maybe it came up an old John Deere. I didn't know though. So I asked them what they wanted for it. They said $24.99 each. I thought, well, that's not too bad. I think I'll get one. And then the guy says, but if you buy 2, I'll give them to you for half price. I said, well, I can do that. So I ended up with 2 identical seats for $24.99 plus tax, of course. I'm thinking, man, what a score. I got a couple of antique seats. It's great. Now, what am I going to use them for? I have no idea. I'm thinking maybe a stool in my workshop, whatever. But anyway, I got them home, and I got to looking at them and flipped it over, and well, would you look at that, a sticker right there. Made in China. So, I don't have to worry about messing up an antique anyway, but they are nice and heavy duty, and they're not too bad looking. So, even though they're not authentic, they look pretty cool. Maybe I'll use the seats in a rat rod that I might build someday. Who knows? Anyway, give me some ideas if you have any. I was out in the desert, ran across a hammer. Now this doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you're out in the middle of the desert and you find a tool just laying out there helter-skelter in the desert, it makes you wonder about the history of it and where it came from and how long it's been there. Things don't rot and age in the desert like they do in other places, so who knows? This side of the handle looks a lot more weathered than that side. It was laying like this, so I'm thinking it's been there a while. Anyway, I'll be able to use this in some of my building projects, and it's kind of a finders keepers kind of thing. If there was any way of knowing whose it was, I'd have been more than happy to return it, but you know what? They left it in the desert. I found it in the desert. I'm going to put this baby back to work. Another thing I came up with is, and one of the things I was actually looking for was a fuel tank. Here we have, you can see it says 100 Yamaha. Somebody sprayed cheap black paint over it. It's missing the gas cap, doesn't have a petcock, so I'm going to have to get one of those. And, it's got a few dings here and there. I'm going to have to get some Bondo or something and fix that. And anyway, I want to put this on my, possibly on my motorized bicycle. It'll be an upgrade later on down the road. I don't really like the tank that's on there. It's a little small, so maybe this will be helpful. And I'll see what I can do with it. Probably, though, the most interesting thing that I got while I was there was this device right here. This is a sander, a belt sander. And I got this for 10 bucks at a secondhand store. Look at this thing. It's got a 1/4-inch drill motor by Black & Decker, and then it says Black & Decker Sharpened Sand. Now, I haven't been able to get this belt to track straight enough to not dig into this cover, so I'm going to pull this cover off and show you how it works. You adjust the angle of the sanding belt that way. Plug this thing in, pull the trigger. That's pretty slick, and you can sand things like this. Now I'm going to have to do a few things to make it to where it'll work right and to where it'll be an efficient piece of equipment. Although I did sand this fairly nicely, just that little bit I did held down with a zip tie. I'll probably have to put a hose clamp or something on there instead just to keep it solid, but it's something to start with. Only cost me 10 bucks. This thing is adjustable. You loosen this up, and then you can adjust the angle of the dangle on this. Well, it's pretty slick if you ask me. And that's just some of the things. I'm always looking for stuff like this, and when I find it, I consider it pay dirt. So this was definitely a trip that turned into pay dirt for me.